You're not broken. Let me say that again. You are not broken. And if you're sitting there wondering what happened to your drive, your spark, your sense of masculinity, I want you to know from one human being to another that there is a reason behind it, a real reason. One that no one talks about. Not your friends, not the TV ads, and definitely not the doctors who rush through 10-minute appointments while you sit in silence, wondering if this is just aging. But here's the truth. It's not just aging. It's deeper than that, and it can be reversed. My name is Dr. Sarah Mitchell. I've been working with men over 50 for nearly 2 decades, and I've heard every story, every frustration, every secret they were too ashamed to tell even their wives. Men who used to feel strong, grounded, powerful, and now avoid mirrors. Men who once woke up ready to take on the world and now wake up tired, uninterested, and ashamed of what their body is no longer doing. If that's you, if you've been wondering why your desire, your confidence, your erections, your vitality have been fading like smoke in the wind, I need you to stay with me because what I'm about to tell you may change the entire way you see your body. And more importantly, it may give you back the fire that you thought was gone for good. Let me begin with a man I once worked with, Thomas. Thomas was 64, former firefighter, tough as nails. But when he sat in my office, he could barely make eye contact. He whispered, "Doc, I don't feel like a man anymore." It shattered me. Because Thomas wasn't just losing desire, he was losing identity. And like many men, he thought it was his fault. But here's the first truth. I told him, low desire is not a moral failure. It's not about being weak. It's about chemistry, and chemistry can be changed. I explained to him, just like I'm explaining to you now, that the male body is governed by a symphony of hormones, signals, blood flow, neural triggers, emotions. And when even one of these starts slipping, the whole system goes out of tune. It starts subtly. You feel more tired. You say no to intimacy more often. You tell yourself it's just a phase. You blame stress, work, diet, aging, even your partner. But here's the truth. No one told you. There's a specific pattern in the male body that shuts down desire from the inside out. And most of it begins in places you'd never expect. Your gut, your sleep, your exposure to hidden estrogenic compounds, and your mindset. Let's go deeper. Did you know that over 60% of American men over 50 have elevated estrogen-like chemicals floating in their bloodstream due to plastics, processed foods, and even the shampoo they use every day? These chemicals mimic female hormones, and slowly, silently, they disarm your testosterone. Like a knife dulled over time, you don't feel the cut, you just stop feeling like yourself. Thomas had no idea. He didn't know that his plastic water bottles microwaved Tupperware, and sugar intake were slowly replacing his manhood with weakness. But once he learned that, everything shifted. The second truth I told Thomas was this. Desire is not just physical. It's psychological, emotional, biochemical, and it needs to be rebuilt from all sides. Think of it like rebuilding a fire. You can't just throw a match at wet wood and expect flames. You need kindling. You need to dry the logs. You need airflow, you need fuel, and you, my dear listener, you still have that fire inside you. It just needs the right spark again. So I asked Thomas some questions. Questions I want you to think about right now. When did you last wake up feeling truly rested? When did you last say no to sugar for a full week? Have you ever checked your testosterone levels? Not just total, but free testosterone? Are you drinking water out of plastic or glass? Have you ever heard of dopamine fasting or how to retrain your brain to desire again? If none of these sound familiar, don't feel bad. No one ever taught you, but I'm here to change that. This isn't about fixing you. You're not broken. This is about reconnecting you with the man you still are and always have been. Thomas started small. He switched to glass bottles. He stopped microwaving and plastic. He cut processed sugar. He added 10 minutes of movement in the morning. He started using an herbal tonic with ashwagandha and tonkat ali, 2 natural adaptogens proven to restore hormone balance. And within 21 days, he looked me in the eye again. He smiled and said, "Doc, it's coming back. I'm coming back." That's when I knew I had to get this message to more men, because you don't need to suffer in silence. You don't need to fake it. You don't need to accept a half-lived life. Let me be the voice you wish you had 10 years ago. Because it's not too late. You just need someone to walk beside you to remind you that it's okay to want more. More connection, more energy, more passion, more life. So now, it's your turn, and I'll be here every step of the way. Before we go any further, I want to ask you something most men never get asked. When was the last time you felt proud of your body? Not because of how it looked, but because of what it made you feel. Strength, desire, power, warmth, connection. Take a breath. I know this isn't an easy question, but it's important, because the road back to your full self starts right there, in the quiet honesty of your answer. See, I talk to men every single week who say things like, Dr. Sarah, I just feel numb, or I'm still married, but we haven't been intimate in months, or worse. I fake headaches now. I'm the one avoiding her. If any of that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not beyond hope. You've just never had anyone truly explain what's actually happening inside your body. So let me do that. Let me pull back the curtain. There's a network inside every man. A beautiful, intricate, powerful system of nerves, blood vessels, and hormonal messengers. Think of it like an ancient telephone system. When everything is working, messages travel smoothly. You feel desire. You react to your partner's touch. You stay firm. You feel confident. But when those lines start breaking due to inflammation, low nitric oxide, cortisol overload, or sleep deprivation, the calls stop going through. Your brain sends the signal, but the body doesn't answer. And you sit there wondering what's wrong with you. Here's the real reason. Your internal communication is broken, not your masculinity. And here's the good news. You can fix the connection. It starts with awareness, and it deepens with action. I want to tell you about another patient of mine, Marcus. Marcus was 59, recently retired. He used to run a small construction company in Ohio. Big heart, quiet, stoic, the kind of man who always took care of everyone else, before himself. But behind that strength, Marcus was quietly falling apart. He told me he hadn't had an erection. In 6 months, he was angry, frustrated, humiliated. He blamed himself. He said, "My wife's still beautiful, but when I try, nothing happens. I feel like a liar every time I tell her, I'm just tired." Marcus didn't need a pill. He needed a reconnection to himself, to his chemistry, to the truth. We ran a few basic labs. His testosterone wasn't awful, but his cortisol was through the roof. His sleep, for hours on average. His diet, full of seed oils, processed meats, artificial sweeteners. His movement? None. He was exhausted, inflamed, disconnected. So we started small. I asked him to do one thing every morning before anything else. Just one deep breath and 10 minutes of sun. That alone begins to lower cortisol and trigger the hypothalamus, the control center for male sexual function. Then I asked him to cut just one food, soy oil. Why? Because it's hiding in everything. Dressings, chips, frozen meals, and it's packed with phytoestrogens that slowly feminize male chemistry. He came back 3 weeks later. He hadn't had sex yet, but he told me something powerful. He said, "I had a morning erection for the first time in 6 months," and he cried. Now pause right here. If you're watching this and thinking, that's what I want too, a sign that you're still alive, still strong, still capable, I want you to know something, ... This message is for you. And if it's hitting you in the heart, don't walk away from it. Don't let shame steal your comeback. Don't scroll past your second chance. If you've made it this far into this conversation, it means you're searching, you're ready. And I'm here for you, in fact. Let's make this personal. Let me hear from you. What part of this message resonated with you the most so far? Drop a comment right now and tell me. And if you're not ready to share yet, that's okay too. But do this for yourself. Subscribe to the channel. Why? Because what you're feeling, this desire to restore your masculine energy, isn't just a phase, it's a mission. And I'll be here week after week, giving you tools, truths, and hope. To walk that mission out fully, this space is private. It's safe. It's for men like you and women like me who believe in your worth. So hit that button. Stay with me. Let's keep going, because the truth about low desire isn't that you lost it. It's that it got buried under stress, chemicals, silence, and shame. And I'm here to dig it back out with you. Now let me share something wild. Researchers from Harvard recently published a study showing that over 48% of men over 55 are deficient in vitamin D, and this deficiency correlates with low testosterone and low desire. But it gets worse. Most of these men think they're getting enough sun, but they're not converting it because of high body fat, poor liver function, or low magnesium. So you're out there walking the dog thinking, I'm good, but inside your body, the hormonal machinery is starving. Marcus was one of them. We added a high-absorption D3 plus K2 supplement. We increased leafy greens to boost magnesium. We added pumpkin seeds. Yes, simple pumpkin seeds, because they contain zinc, which is vital for testosterone and dopamine. And you know what? By month 2, he had initiated intimacy with his wife again. And she looked at him and said, "You came back to me." That's what this journey is about. Not just hard facts, not just physical fixes, but emotional resurrection. Because low desire doesn't just break the body, it breaks hearts. But it doesn't have to. So again, if you're here, if something in this message woke you up, drop a comment. Tell me what hit you hardest. Subscribe. You're not alone anymore, because we're just getting started. Let me take you deeper now, because if you've stayed with me this far, I know you're not just curious, you're committed. Committed to understanding what the hell happened to your desire, and how to get it back. So let me pull off another layer of the mask. Low desire is not just a symptom. It's a warning signal. It's your body's way of saying, I'm overwhelmed, I'm inflamed, I'm under attack. And the enemies, they're not always the ones you see coming, let me tell you about Frank. Frank was 67, former military, straight shooter, sat in my office with his arms crossed, looking skeptical, didn't want to be there. His wife made him come. He said, Doc, I'm fine, I'm just getting older. But his eyes betrayed him. He was tired, frustrated, like something inside of him had dimmed and he didn't want to admit it. I asked him one question. Do you wake up and feel the urge, even if you don't act on it? He was quiet, then said, not in a long time. That's not aging. That's biochemical shutdown. And when I told him that, he leaned in, because part of him still wanted to believe, still hoped. So we ran tests, not just testosterone. We looked at his full panel, DHEA, cortisol curve, prolactin, estradiol, inflammatory markers. And what we found was something I see all the time in men like Frank. The slow leak syndrome. It's when everything seems okay on paper, but the whole system is running at 40%. Like a phone that says 50% battery, but dies after 10 minutes. Frank had been under chronic stress for 25 years. Work, finances, raising kids, keeping it together. He never took time to process. Never. Breathed deep. His adrenal glands were fatigued. His thyroid was dragging. And every morning his body was producing more cortisol than testosterone. Do you know what that means? It means he was waking up in fight or flight. Not in desire, not in creation, not in intimacy. He was in survival. And you can't build intimacy. When your body thinks it's at war, this is what no one tells you. That your low desire isn't about being old, it's about being overloaded. It's about the systems that once made you feel alive, now being hijacked by stress and inflammation. So, we began the rebuild. And here's where I want you to lean in with me. Because this isn't just Frank's story, it could be yours. I want to give you a few powerful truths I've discovered over the years. Truths that are helping men get their fire back without drugs, shame, or pressure. Desire begins in the brain, not in the body. If your dopamine pathways are dulled from too much scrolling, processed sugar, alcohol, or synthetic stimulation, your natural drive shrinks. Your mind loses curiosity. The spark disappears. So we started Frank on a 7-day dopamine fast. No porn, no social media, no processed sugar. Instead, journaling, walking, music, breath, presence. It hurt at first. But by day 5, he told me, my senses are waking up again. Your erections are a measure of blood flow, not masculinity. If your endothelial system, the lining of your blood vessels, is stiff, inflamed, or blocked, your performance will fail. Not because you're less of a man, but because your arteries can't expand. So Frank started using beet juice, L-citrulline, and 15 minutes of light movement in the morning. Why? Because these increase nitric oxide, the very compound that fuels strong blood flow. Your desire is connected to your purpose. Yes, you heard that right. Men who feel useless, uninspired, or disconnected from mission lose their drive. It's not just chemical, it's existential. So I asked Frank, what's one thing you've always wanted to do, but told yourself it was too late? He said, I used to play the saxophone. I smiled, pick it back up, and he did. And a month later, his wife sent me a note. He's playing music again, and he's holding me again. Because when a man comes alive in one area, he comes alive everywhere. That's why this isn't just about fixing your sex life. It's about restoring your aliveness. It's about bringing you back to yourself. Now, let me ask you something bold. Have you been settling? Settling for going to bed, tired? Settling for avoiding your partner? Settling for blaming your body? Settling for less life, less passion, less you? If so, stop. Stop right now. You don't have to settle. You don't have to accept this version of yourself. You don't have to disappear, because here's what I know. You still have fire in you, even if it's small, even if it's quiet, even if it's flickering, it's there, and it wants to burn again. So here's what I want you to do. Starting tomorrow morning, wake up and take 3 deep breaths before checking your phone. Step outside barefoot if you can and face the sun for 5 minutes. Drink a glass of filtered water with a pinch of sea salt and lemon. Move your body for 10 minutes. Anything. Write down one thing you're grateful for. Then, for the next 7 days, eliminate just one thing. Refined sugar. That alone can lower inflammation, improve insulin, and reset dopamine sensitivity. And if you're ready to go even deeper, start taking zinc, magnesium, glycinate, ashwagandha, and L-citrulline every night. These are not magic pills, but they are proven to support your hormonal balance and give your body the tools it needs to return to balance, because your body doesn't want to give up. It wants to come back. It just needs a little help. Frank is now 69. He plays music. Twice a week, he walks every morning. He holds his wife like he did when they were young. And last month, he looked me in the eye and said, "I feel more like a man now than I did at 40. That, my friend, is what's waiting for you. And we're not done yet." This is just the reignition phase. Next, I'll show you how to stabilize that fire, how to keep it burning, and how to rebuild your intimacy in a way that feels real, not forced. Stay with me, because the journey back to yourself is just beginning. I know this journey hasn't been easy. Just listening, just staying with me this long, it already says so much about your heart. You're not someone who gives up. You're someone who still wants to feel, deeply, completely, like a man. Again, so let me walk with you now into something even more sacred, because what we've been talking about, desire, drive, vitality, it's not just a medical issue. It's not just about hormones or circulation. It's about intimacy. With yourself, with your partner, with life, and that's where most men struggle the most, because no one ever taught you how to be intimate. You were taught how to be strong, silent, dependable. But who taught you to connect, to express, to feel safe inside your own body? Let me tell you about James. James was 62, widowed. He hadn't been with anyone since his wife passed 5 years earlier. He told me, "I've lost all sense of physical connection. I don't even think I want it anymore." But, as he kept talking, I could hear the truth hiding under his grief. He didn't lose desire. He buried it out of pain, out of guilt, out of fear, so I asked him something that I now ask every man I work with. When was the last time you touched your own body without shame or judgment? He stared at me, eyes wide. He said, I don't know. That's where it begins. The return of your masculine energy starts not in performance but in presence. Can you simply be with yourself? Without pressure? Can you sit with your thoughts, your breathing, your skin, without turning away? Because if you can't be intimate with yourself, you'll never feel fully intimate with another. James began a practice I taught him called intentional embodiment. Each morning, before coffee, before phone, before anything, he sat quietly, shirt off, and placed his hands over his heart. Then, over his lower belly, he breathed. He noticed, he didn't judge. He just allowed, "Sounds strange. Maybe." But within 2 weeks, he came back and said, "For the first time in years, I felt a spark." Without fear, that's power. That's healing. That's manhood reborn now. If you've been listening this far and something inside you is beginning to shift, don't let that feeling go. It's not weakness. It's awakening. And I want you to know, I believe in the real you. Not the tired version, not the stressed out, ashamed, disconnected version, but the man underneath it all, the man who knows he was made for more. So let's go further. We've talked about your body, your chemistry, your morning habits. Now, I want to talk to you about something you may not even realize has been holding you back. Your nervous system, if you've lived decades holding everything in, never crying, never shaking, never releasing tension. Your nervous system becomes like a clenched fist, tight, defensive, disconnected. And when the nervous system is locked, in that state, it suppresses desire, not because you don't care, but because your body doesn't feel safe enough to relax into arousal. So here's what I taught James, and what I want you to try too. Somatic release. It's not complex. It's not therapy. It's not woo-woo. It's single quotes about giving your body space to reset. Lay on the floor, let your arms go wide. Take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale with a loud sigh. Shake your legs, move your shoulders. Let sound out. It may feel awkward at first, but it's your body saying, "I'm here, I'm listening, I'm ready." And with time, that practice alone can begin to unlock the deep tension that's been strangling your desire for years. James began doing this every night. After a week, he said his sleep improved. After 2 weeks, he said his dreams changed. They became warmer, more vivid. And by the 3rd week, he told me, "I looked at a woman on the street, and I actually felt something. Not lust, just aliveness." This is the beauty of the work we're doing here. You're not becoming someone new. You're returning to the man you were before life hardened you. That man is still inside, and he wants to come out. So I want to give you something now, something intimate. A practice you can use to reconnect with your partner or with your future partner in a way that builds real, lasting desire. It's called the touch ritual. It's not about sex. It's not about performance. It's about trust. Sit face to face, fully clothed, no pressure, no goals. Just hold hands, look into each other's eyes, and breathe together. That's it. That's all. Let silence be okay. Let awkwardness pass. Let presence return because the deepest desire comes not from fantasy, but from safety. And when a woman feels that safety in you, you'll see her respond like never before. Not because you did anything, but because you showed up. AskYourWholeSelf.com awake. Honest, that's what turns her on. That's what wakes you up again now. Let's bring this back to you. What if, starting tonight, you stopped trying to get back to normal and started creating something new? What if instead of chasing erections, you began cultivating energy? What if instead of fearing failure, you began honoring every small win? One morning erection, one new breath, one touch, one real moment. That's how it begins. That's how fire returns. And if no one's told you this yet, let me be the first. I am proud of you. Not because you're perfect, but because you're showing up. You're listening. You're choosing life. You're choosing you. We're almost there now. In our final chapter, I'll show you how to anchor all this progress into your daily life, how to rebuild your confidence, how to step into intimacy again with strength, integrity, and joy, because your story isn't ending. It's just beginning. I want you to pause right now, right here, before we go any further. Take a breath, a full one. Not a shallow inhale, but deep, steady, like you're telling your nervous system, we made it. Because if you've come this far with me, if you've walked through every part of this story, through the loss, the silence, the awakening, the reconnection, then, my friend, you are no longer the same man who pressed play on this video. You've already begun. And beginnings. True beginnings. They're rare. Most men just survive. But you've chosen to rise, so let's talk now about the man you're becoming. Not just the man who gets his desire back. Not just the man who wakes up with strength again, but the man who walks into every room knowing he carries something deeper. Confidence, awareness, peace, integrity, presence. That's what true masculinity feels like. It's not loud. It doesn't need to prove. It radiates. And when you carry that, your body responds. Your mind clears. Your relationships shift. And your energy, your fire becomes something sacred again. But that version of you, it doesn't come from hoping. It comes from practice. So let's build your practice. Simple, consistent, daily. Not overwhelming, not clinical. Just real. Every morning, begin with a ritual of return. Wake before the noise. Drink water with lemon and salt. Stand in the light. Breathe with intention. Touch your chest. Say I'm here, then move. 5 minutes, 10, doesn't matter. What matters is that you tell your body, we are alive. We are moving forward. At night, finish with a ritual of respect. No screens for 30 minutes. Touch your belly. Breathe deep, stretch right. One thing you're proud of, no matter how small, and say aloud, I am healing. I am enough. That's how kings rise, not through battle, but through discipline. Not through pills, but through presence now. Let me speak from my heart, from the voice of every woman who has ever longed to see her man whole again. We don't want perfection. We don't need six-packs or performances. We want you, fully present, fully here, feeling again, leading again, holding again. Because when you rise, we all rise. So I leave you now with a question. What kind of man are you becoming? Starting today, are you willing to become the man who looks in the mirror and says, I forgive you, I believe in you, I've got you, because he's waiting, inside you, not in a bottle, not in someone else's approval, but in your daily choice. And here's my final truth. This isn't just a video, this is a doorway, and I've just held it open for you now. It's up to you to step through. So here's what I ask you to do next, not for me, not for the algorithm, but for you. Subscribe to this channel because I'll be here every week with tools, truths, and real stories that will help you keep rising. Not with hype, not with shame, but with respect. Because your masculinity deserves that. Because you deserve that. Leave a comment below. Tell me what part of this spoke to your soul. Tell me what you're committed to now. Let this be your first act of power. Your voice matters. And share this with a friend, a brother, a father. Because you're not the only one carrying this silent weight. Let's unchain every man who's forgotten who he is. And if you want more, if you want to go deeper into breath, movement, nutrition, supplements, rituals, intimacy, identity, let me know in the comments what topic you want next, because this channel is not about views. It's about victories. Quiet ones, honest ones, masculine ones. This is not the end of your story. It's the return of your real name, the one you whispered as a boy, the one you forgot under stress, the one you're reclaiming. Now I see you. I honor you, and I'll be here cheering you on every time you rise again. This is Dr. Sarah, and I believe in you.